Ahoy there! Josh here with MojoPlays. Be warned, major spoilers ahead for almost all entries in the Assassin's Creed series. They say history is written in blood, and in that blood are stories to be told in the language of our genes. Which is perfect if you're an evil corporation looking to steal the memories of heroes and villains long since past to capture ancient artifacts and rule the world. What? Sounds about right to me. Assassin's Creed puts us in the shoes of beloved figures from across history, living through many a tragic tale. The fates of our allies in these games can be nothing short of depressing, and some are, well... Today, get ready to say, hey Google, Alexa, play Despacito, because we're strapping into our personal animus to relive the saddest deaths throughout Assassin's Creed. Lucy Stillman.
It's not happening, Warren.
You continue to disappoint in every conceivable way, Miss Stillman.
Many players were happy to see her killed off after the revelation that she was a traitor to the Miles gang, but we never got to see her side of the story. Numerous interactions in the series led to believe that Lucy grew fond of Desmond and co., and her villainous motives were only briefly mentioned in throwaway dialogue.
Desmond will lead you to the apple, and then you bring it right to us. We're counting on you, Lucy.
Overall, it's just a shame that her and Desmond's chemistry was thrown aside. She was done even dirtier when a former creative director alleged Lucy's actress demanded royalties for all future games, resulting in killing off her character. So what felt like a series of half-baked events.
Do you think Lucy regretted what she was doing?
I used to think I knew her well, but clearly that wasn't the case.
Hunwald.
You may think this odd, but our lively chatter here has inspired in me a short poem.
While being brand new to the series, this charming young lord is doomed to kick the bucket no matter what actions you take as a player. Hunwald accompanies you through a variety of missions throughout the game. He's not afraid to get his hands dirty for Ivor, but isn't what people would call assassin material. He's defined in-game as not being clever, but with a lot of spirit. Hunwald considers Ivor his truest friend on his deathbed, or death floor. Jeez, I can't catch a break. Worst of all, the way Hunwald goes out is brutally realistic. No epic blaze of glory or wise dramatic speech from a sage. No, he's just cold, and he hopes to sit with his father again soon. Oof, Assassin's Creed. Oofy doodle. Achilles Davenport.
Please, all I ask is a moment of your time.
Get the hell off my land.
Mentor, and the Obi-Wan to the assassin Shay Cormac's Anakin, Mr. Davenport's life has been full of turmoil since pretty much the beginning. One of his most notable achievements is the training of Master Assassin Connor during the events of AC3. Achilles fronts an understandably cold hard exterior. His former crew was killed off by one of their own, with the resulting skirmish leaving him permanently crippled, only to reside in an empty manor after losing his family to typhoid fever. Despite this, he came to view Connor as a sort of son over the many years of his training. Achilles went peacefully in his sleep, though not before Connor could return with a painting of his family. He resorted to leaving a handwritten note that apologized for not being able to say goodbye in person, but that he was hopeful for America's future after seeing what they had achieved together. Those following scenes really drive the point home as you hold X to dig his grave yourself and put up the family portrait upon his request.
And why should I give you any credit?
Then don't. But first, return the robe and the blade and the darts and all of the years of training and knowledge I have bestowed upon you.
Yusuf.
Race you to the bottom?
Another Brotherhood leader and friend of the legendary assassin Ezio during his time in Constantinople. Yusuf is about as close to comic relief as they come in these games, introducing himself with friendly banter to what's probably one of the deadliest men in the world.
I have a hard time remembering that Italian gibberish. Da Firenze.
That's not to say he's only there for a laugh though, as he introduces you to the signature hook blade, teaches you how to craft explosives, and is an extremely competent fighter. During our time spent with him in Revelations, it finally felt like Ezio had a friend and a buddy for once. Which made it all the worse when he was killed off-screen at Ezio's request to protect love interest Sophia. The man went down swinging, as you can tell by the bodies, but was shortly laid to rest at players' dismay. This is why we can't have nice things.
While Yusuf's murderer waits and watches from the arsenal, laughing. Fight with me, and show him what it means to cross the assassins.
Desmond Miles. If you're not familiar with Desmond, you're missing out. The original main character of the Assassin's Creed series for about 5 installments Des brought the series to what it is today. Through his ancestry, Desmond, and to a lesser extent his father William, are related to a wide variety of famous assassins throughout the ages. This made Dee the perfect target of Abstergo Industries, and future plot lines only got kookier from here. We spent so much time with him, building up his team of resistance fighters and colleagues, though in an attempt to wrap up his story, Desmond was destined to make the ultimate sacrifice to save most of the living world. You know, standard main character stuff. It's plenty sad for William, sure, but even more sad for the player base because of what it meant for the series. Most didn't really enjoy playing as a floating iPad in the modern day storylines as seen in Black Flag and Rogue, though as of AC Valhalla, we're taking big steps at getting back to the modern day resistance, since we're having actual characters again.
No man should pass from this world without knowing some kindness.
Altaïr. One might expect the life of an assassin to be a short one, which isn't the case for the OG grandpappy of the series, Altaïr, who passed at the ripe age of 92. After many harrowing adventures throughout the first game, we finally got to witness the resolution to his chapter several installments later. What made for such a sad scene was witnessing the once iconic assassin now struggling to merely sit down. He instructed his family to evacuate the castle, and to ensure the MacGuffin's safety, he would entomb himself with its secrets until the time was right. He may have passed peacefully, surrounded by his accomplishments, but it was alone, without his son. Despite this, his legacy has lived on for generations, and will always be a fan favorite character we love to come back to. Mary Read. Under the guise of James Kidd, Mary quickly became a beloved character in the ranks of Eddie Kenway's pirate crew. This adventurous woman was a master sailor, free runner, disguise artist, and firm believer of the Assassin Order. She would play a major role in Edward's joint efforts with the Brotherhood and almost stole his heart in the process. The two did not end up sailing into the sunset, however, as Mary was captured, imprisoned, and threatened to get the rope. Things took an even worse turn when players would discover she was pregnant and unable to survive in the poor living conditions she was held in. Kenway and co. made a rescue attempt, but were just too late as the sickness had already taken hold of her. She found herself with a slow, grim fate.
I ain't leaving you nowhere. No bloody way.
Put me down, Edward.
Unfortunately, she wouldn't even be the last of Edward's ghosts.
You should have been the one to outlast me.
I've done my part. Will you?
Élise de la Serre, a tale as old as time, the love story between a Templar and an assassin.
You cheated.
You took too long.
Élise truly bookends AC Unity's story, as you're introduced to her as a child alongside protag Arno, only to have her end up in your arms at the very end of the game. She's not only a noblewoman and daughter of a high-ranking Templar, but also a proficient sword fighter, rivaling that of any assassin. Perhaps out of all the entries on this list, her death felt completely unnecessary to following events. During the final boss fight, Élise, filled with hatred, rushes to finish the job on Boss Magoo. Without any option to save her, she's met with an explosion from a magic sword. Why couldn't they give this one to us? Can't let Arno be happy, eh?
Please, no.
The House of de la Serre ends here, with Élise having no known siblings, and the last piece of her to remain are solely her love letters to Arno.
Oh, if it's fortune and adventure you seek, then Captain Edward Kenway's your man.
Blackbeard, the very same Scourge of the Seven Seas from Tales of Legend. Thatch here spent his time hyping you up, being your reliable pirate bro, and acting as a sort of mentor in pirating. The game took strides in really making you care for the guy in all his theatrics.
Men will drop to their knees, pleading for their lord before aught else.
Looks fine.
Of course it does.
Blackbeard's motto for life was to live free without being under the rule of any man, and always choosing to use fear over outright violence. However, history would once again repeat itself shortly before Blackbeard's planned retirement, as Edward Kenway and Ed Thatch found themselves sparred up against the Royal Navy. The saddest part is how the final scene with our pirate companion played out, as Thatch's regretful last words ring out.
In a world without gold, we might have been heroes.
I suppose they did spare us the gritty detail that the man who slayed Blackbeard IRL was said to hang his head on the end of his ship, so at least there's that. Sorry, Kenway. Another ghost for the pile. That's what you get for having cool friends. Ezio and the Auditore family. Number one has to go to series legend Ezio, and by extension, the fates of all male members of House Auditore. Who could forget the merciless fall of the assassin family to begin with? They got the Game of Thrones Thrones treatment at the expense of an edgy, sorrow-filled backstory. Mario, executed in the street. Paterio, a young and sickly boy. Hung, their brother Federico, and loving father Giovanni. You guessed it, both hung. Maria? She's okay. These events haunt gamers to this day as being one of the most tragic sequences in gaming history. Ezio himself, the surviving son, was pushed into the assassin line of work from this event, surviving many harrowing battles thereafter, though eventually succumbing to a heart attack. No man was strong enough to kill him, but nature took its course. Though, not before he pulled off one last heroic deed.
When I was a young man, I had liberty, but I did not see it. I had time, but I did not know it. And I had love, but I did not feel it. Many decades would pass before I understood the meaning of all three.
All in all, the devs made us care about these mostly fictional characters, so it's only natural we'd be even sadder when they're taken away. They'll all live on in our consoles and our minds for ages to come. Alright, that's all for me. Thanks for watching, gamers. Did you shed a tear in this video? Let me know in the comments. Feel free to hit us with a subscribe and a like if you like what we're doing here. If you enjoyed it, the assassins thank you. I've been Josh with MojoPlays. Game on, and I'll see you in the next one.